But I think for me, it got much better once I realized that this was a business that I had created. And it was also an art practice, I had to always consider those two pieces together, uh, and make sure that they were in balance. And I was fortunate. It, it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were one of the pioneers in really creating an art business, and I love what you said about considering the practice and the business together and
Yeah.
really recognizing that.
Yeah. It's, I can't underestimate the value of taking advantage of opportunities. And that was one thing that I learned early on. I was approached in the late 1970s by a publishing house that actually contacted me through an arts school where I was teaching one-off courses. This was in the Boston area. And they were looking for people to write craft books. And the head of the school came to me and said, this publishing house, it was Prentice Hall at the time, they're looking for authors to write books on crafts. And I'm wondering if you're teaching quilting here, would you like to do a book on quilts? And it was like the furthest thing from my mind. And I thought, oh gosh, do I really? No, this is not what I want to do. I want to make. This is what I'm doing. But I said I'd think about it. And I happened to go to a small conference in upstate New York, and I met a very well known writer then and still, although Gene passed away a few years ago, Gene Ray Laurie, well published author in the 1960s and 70s and 80s of books related to quilting and quilts, stitching, patchwork, all that stuff. And I got into a conversation with her and I explained that I just recently had this proposal. And she said, well, she said, I suggest you do it because if you don't do it, we'll just ask somebody else. And she
Mhm.
said, I've always looked at opportunities like this as doorways. So that's my opinion. So I thought about it and I thought, well, I think maybe I should do this. She's right. And I'll always be grateful for her insight in helping me to realize that when opportunity comes knocking, take advantage of it.